Welcome. It is 2023, and we are back with the bird's eye view. I am Warduck, and as always, I'm here with the lovely Mr. Crow, who's giant today.
Giant. We had to monkey around with things. I'm in your face. I am here.
So, from the past video stuff, I kind of have an interest in figuring out serial killers and murderers and that kind of stuff so this Idaho murder case is super duper interesting for me, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But
Okay.
here's one of the headlines that we came across, and it was Idaho murders. FBI denies directing Indiana police to pull over Brian whatever,
However,
Kohberger.
I think it's Kohberger. Yeah.
All right. And then the other one is Brian Kohberger case. Why didn't the Idaho roommate call 911 after encountering masked madman? Okay, so
That was an interesting one.
this is all over the news, and if in case you don't know what happened, there was in Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, a super duper small town. I don't know how many people there are, but it's like a tiny town. And
And we should make sure that's clear. It's in Idaho, the U.S.
Yeah.
Not Moscow, Russia.
right, Moscow, Idaho, and
Yeah.
it is a tiny college town. And so there was a set of murders. Well, there was one instance that 4 people were murdered. There were 3 females and a male. 2 of the females, I believe, were in the same room. They were really good friends, and the couple was in another room. And this is where it's a little murky to me, because I thought they said that 2 were on the 3rd floor and 2 were on the 2nd floor, but when they show the house, it looks like just a 2-story. So I'm not exactly sure, but there was still 2 other people in the house that were untouched. So 6 people in the house, 4 people stabbed to death and murdered, and two were untouched. All right. So when this popped, all of a sudden there was no suspects, there was nothing, no leads. Everybody was freaking out, and all this stuff's going on. And then as information came out, they started tracking back, and they were using phones to see who was around the location. They were watching videos, and they were doing all kinds of stuff.
They started doing all sorts of things. Yeah, looking around, searching.
So what they decided was that there was a white Hyundai Elantra. I think that's how you say it. And they wanted that was the car that they thought might know something or was suspicious. So they put out an APB, I guess, on a white Hyundai Elantra, 2011 through something or other, 13 or something maybe, I don't know. And they decided that in another state, this car matched that description. Now the Washington, I think it was Washington State University. It might have been their police, but it was the police in Washington. At Washington State, they found this car. Now, that sounds like, oh God, Idaho and Washington, but it's only like 8 miles apart. So super close.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Yeah, even though this is on the west side, where the states are fairly large, they are pretty close to the border.
These are right across the street from each other, kind of thing. And so then they're like, okay, so who owns this car? And then so it was a Washington State student, and he's a criminal justice
PhD is what he was going for school or something.
Right. So okay.
Psychology or something like that.
So he has a master's and a bachelor's in psychology.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. So, and now he's at Washington State going for his doctorate in criminology. he has interviewed or sent correspondence as a research paper or whatever, right? I don't know if he personally interviewed him or he interviewed him through these questionnaires that he sent out. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he talked to these or corresponded with a bunch of murderers, asking them questions.
Interesting.
How did you choose your target?
This part is new to me.
Yeah. How did you choose your target? How long after you chose your target did you choose to do this act? What drove you to do this act? Lots of questions, right? That you, if you were doing, you know, like the whole the whole
research.
Yeah, the whole Criminal Minds type thing, right? The profiler stuff. Those are the kind of questions he was asking. And so then you have this psychology mind taking criminology. I think, this is my opinion. My opinion is this is a serial killer in training. This was his first murder, and he screwed up. Barely.
He got caught.
Barely.
Right, yeah.
Barely. He barely screwed up. And if it wasn't for this, I don't think he ever gets caught. And the second part of this, if this trial leaves Moscow, Idaho, for somewhere else, I don't know that he gets convicted.
Interesting.
And we'll go over why. So,
wow, that's an interesting thought, though.
They process the scene, right? They don't find any DNA anywhere else belonging to anybody else other than they found a leather knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims. The only place they found DNA was on the snap to open it up.
I was going to say, yeah, it was on the snap, just the snap.
Now, here's where it's a little murky because I read some reports that they tested that against the police database and found nothing. And then they tested it against some genealogy sites.
Oh.
And that's where I read this. I don't know if this is factual or not, but I heard that they matched it to like a second cousin, which verified him as a suspect. And then they went to his house in Pennsylvania, got some DNA from his dad, matched the dad of the DNA on the button that shows it would be the father of that person, tying it back to this Brian guy.
Oh, man.
Okay. So
here you guys thought you're getting your ancestry for free.
So
sucker.
So I have no doubt this is the right guy. I have no doubt in my mind that this is the right guy. However, proving the fact that he murdered 4 people, it's going to be a super tough case. And here's why. Yes, they have a button on his they have DNA on the button on the knife sheath. They have no murder weapon.
No.
Okay? So, the only DNA they have tying him to the scene is on this knife sheath button. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in the world that the murderer took it there. Because it didn't belong to any of the people there, right? Okay. Now.
Yep.
Now.
I'll go with you.
Now. All he has to say is basically, oh, I went knife shopping one day. I didn't buy anything. I was just looking at knives. My DNA got on there. Right? I mean...
Yeah.
Okay. So you can easily explain that away.
But they mentioned that they found, when they went to go search or go talk to his parents, they found the matching car in their driveway.
How many white Hyundai Elantras are there?
But this one has been extremely. They even mentioned it that it was
circumstantial. That's
clean.
Circumstantial evidence.
Oh, I know. No, I'm just saying. So they got it, but it's going to be. I agree with you.
You cannot convict on circumstantial evidence alone. You have to have facts in the case, right?
It's got to be fact.
All right.
That's
So
tough.
so the only fact that you have is that he lived close. The car had been in the
Close
area
enough.
before.
Correct.
And his cell phone had been in the
the-
area before, not at that house, but in the area before, right?
Yeah.
His phone did not ping at the time of the murders anywhere near. He turned it off or whatever.
I was going to say, do
Right?
we know, at least the facts that they're giving us, do we know that it didn't get pinged at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
They know it
just that it
didn't.
didn't
They
ping
know
in the,
around the time of the murders that it was turned off and then it was turned back on later and he wasn't there. So,
still,
like I
no
said,
facts, though.
so like I said, right? No facts. It's all circumstantial evidence so far, right?
This is tough.
Then,
Tough.
then this is where it gets worse. This is where it gets worse. Is you have the eyewitness, right? You have the eyewitness of the roommate. The eyewitness says
they're asking why she didn't call 911 yet.
Right. Her story is that she heard a girl crying and she heard a male say, "It's all right, I'm going to help you." She came out of her room only to see a masked man or a masked person
Yep.
with a mask, a shirt, and pants all in black. But he was 5'10" and had bushy eyebrows. And then I was so petrified, I went back in my room and didn't call 911 until the next day at about 9 p.m. or 9 a.m.
This causes more speculation too. It doesn't. It adds
Does
to
not
the story
help because A, she's lying, period. B is she's so traumatized, nothing she says can be used anyway. Period.
Well,
eyewitness statements are extremely unreliable, especially victim statements.
Yeah.
Extremely unreliable. Proven extremely unreliable. Now, like I said, she was so terrified and so scared that she literally ran back in her room and locked the door and didn't call 911 until 9 a.m. because she was so scared she couldn't think straight. But she was, oh yeah, he's exactly 5'10" and he has bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, that's weird.
Now look at this guy. I wouldn't call that bushy eyebrows like I've seen, but okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
But he's masked in all black. You can't tie him to the thing. The only thing you got is one tiny shred of DNA on a button snap of a knife. From somebody that lived 8 miles away that could have been shopping for a knife at any point, at any time.
Yeah. That's tough. And
now here, see,
man, that's tough.
Remember, he's a psychologist and he's going for his PhD in criminology, right? He's very, very in tune with the process and everything. A lot of questions about why he waived the trial for extradition. But as soon as he arrived back, they had to release the evidence to him. So by waiving the extradition, he immediately gets to find out what they have on him and start building his alibi and his story.
This guy's smart.
I'm telling you, this is a serial killer that got himself caught barely. Because if he had not left that knife sheath, they would have never been able to tie him. Never. But when you look at the evidence, they better have a hell of a lot more than what is been released right now. Because if that's all you got, they had a hell of a lot more on OJ and he got off. A hell of a lot more on OJ and he got off.
Well, and the things too that's I'm kind of finding out about the roommate's house and all, or this house in particular, is she thought it could have possibly been what's that ritual when they kind of swear
a hazing?
They thought it might be such as like a hazing prank or something like that kind of thing. She was unsure, but she was scared. And because this house also, and again, this is kind of hearsay. This is only what I've heard on the article you're on right now, the news. They said for a lack of terms, this was a party house, and so there were times where people were coming in and going in this house, and that's hard. Like, yeah, you're right. There are no facts.
Like
at
I
least
said,
what's there
I
right now.
haven't. There is no
facts.
doubt in me that this is the right guy, but
Correct.
I think he may be smarter than the police there and everybody else so far, because they literally have. If
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, if this was in Los Angeles, this guy wouldn't even be in jail, bro. He wouldn't even be in jail, because they'd be like, "That's all you have? Nah, we're walking."
Wow.
Now,
This is insane.
now he does have a public defender,
Okay.
not a high-profile lawyer. So, but the thing is I don't know if this case goes to trial in Moscow, Idaho. It's too small, dude. I don't think that there's no way in hell anybody gets a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho. No way. Because everybody knows, everybody knows everything about this. It's too small of a town. Everybody knows everybody pretty much. There's no way you get a fair trial in Moscow. I imagine one of the first things they're going to do is go for a change of venue.
Wow. This one's going to be tough. This is very interesting because, yeah, like you're saying, there's very few facts. Like,
yeah,
just because his DNA is there on that sheath, could be put off on coincidental.
There's other reports that he was seen wearing rubber gloves and shit everywhere, like later, like after the murders, like when he was at home in Pennsylvania, that people had seen him outside and he was wearing rubber gloves. I think this is a very calculated serial killer in training.
Yeah.
That made one tiny mistake. He did everything right except left the knife sheath. And I was reading another article about this is fascinating me. I read another article. It was about an FBI agent, and he was talking about why he thinks the other two people were left alive. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that the guy got tired. Killing 4 people takes a lot out of you, and he think that he was so exhausted, he made the mistake, left the knife sheath, and left the building because he could no longer kill it. Like, he didn't have the energy to struggle with somebody else.
Just all the adrenaline and everything was just coming to. He was down.
That was his theory, FBI's theory, or this.
That's an
particularly
theory, though.
This. I think he was an XBI agent that is like a correspondent kind of. That was his theory, though, is that the guy just didn't have enough energy left to kill the rest of the people in the house.
Wow. Well, this just makes me think too. What happens in the future?
Yeah.
Like, if he gets off with this, like if he gets away with this, I shouldn't say it that way, but if he gets away with this,
he'll forever be watched. Dude.
The next one,
he'll be.
Well, yeah, he'll be watched, but
yeah, I don't.
Gonna be.
If he had not left the knife sheath, I think you're looking at the next prolific serial killer. And of course, I mean, he's in Washington. So that's where they all come from. So, like,
a lot of them seem to come from that side, yeah.
So I think it was incredibly fortunate that he made the mistake and left that knife sheath, and they actually were able to tie it to him. Because otherwise, if his first thing was killing 4 people, man, how do you escalate from that?
Yeah.
And
that's a good point too. If he was really going to kill 6 people, right, and he just learned that he was able to do 4 because he got so tired, type thing. Now he's going to plan the next one to be more specific and more, precise. So it's a good thing they at least got what they do on him. Wow. This is very
because
interesting.
There's an evolution of a serial killer, right? Exactly. And at the beginning they make a couple of mistakes, and then they get better, and they don't. And then all of a sudden they do it so long, and it comes back down. Yeah, then they come out, and then they make mistakes. So
And that's why I was saying is he learned if that ex FBI agent was correct and he was going to go in there with the plan to take 6 people, learned that's too many. I can't do that. And he learned that, okay, I can do 4. If he wouldn't have been caught like this, that he would have been able to learn from this, and who could have imagined what would happen next.
and the fact that he made one tiny mistake only on this one.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though. This was a stabbing death.
Mm-hmm.
That means there was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot. Yeah.
Now, that means there had to have been a trail of blood down the stair or whatever. When this lady saw this guy, this masked dude, he would have been covered in blood. There would have been blood everywhere.
Good point. Yeah.
She was able to tell he had bushy eyebrows and everything, but she couldn't see all the blood on him and everything, right? Okay. And then he goes down, he gets in his car, which had to have been bloody. He goes somewhere, changes clothes or ditches clothes, goes back to his dorm room. Like, there's got to be... Like, I wonder what they found in his dorm room, in his shower. Did they CSI and open up all the drains? And so, I don't, like, I'm just like, man, did he clean everything?
A lot of bleach?
Or,
yeah.
Like, God, yeah, it makes me really wonder. But this case really, really scares me because the evidence I've seen so far, it's not a lot. It's not
enough, for sure.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like, this guy's smart. And you're right. If this is the one, if this is the guy, and it seems it might be, and it's a luck of the draw that you guys were even able to get that. But this guy has thought of every angle. He is smart.
I have no doubt.
This is creepy. My
opinion, my non-professional, non-lawyer, non-whatever, my YouTube sleuthing my feeling is this is the guy. But can they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law? That is a whole nother ball game. And like I said, there's been a lot of cases that had a lot better evidence that didn't convict a murderer. And that's what scares me.
Yeah, they've got to find exactly something that puts him there.
Thank God Johnny Cochran has passed away, because if Johnny Cochran was this guy's lawyer, he'd be getting off. He'd already be out, man. He would already be out. I'm telling you, based on the evidence that they have, if this was in Los Angeles and this was like some rich person with a bunch of money, I mean, hell, look at Baldwin. He's still not freaking in jail for killing somebody.
True. Yeah.
Now, on a side note with OJ, right? God, what was there was a serial killer. Damn it. It's the name of the serial killer is right on my tongue. He's a convicted serial killer
at that time. Was that the Night Stalker at that time?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I just read this article like 20 minutes ago. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember the damn serial killer's name, but the brother says the brother of the serial killer thinks that his brother killed Goldman and Brown, that it wasn't OJ, that the brother had been doing painting in the area. The brother had said that he had met Nicole and Ron Goldman, and he thinks that his brother, the serial killer, killed those two. We'll just throw that in there. I thought that was very interesting. I was like, what? No way. So now even more evidence that maybe OJ didn't do it. Never know,
Yeah, didn't OJ go to jail?
For other stuff.
For a long time. Was it for other stuff?
Not for this murder. He was not guilty of that murder. He was remember, if the glove doesn't fit, you must quit.
That's exactly why I'm playing through the whole thing, and I'm like, gosh, the glove doesn't fit. But I swear there was a time OJ was in jail for
other stuff. Other stuff. He'd been in jail a few times for other stuff. I think one of them was strong arm robbery, trying to get some of his memorabilia back and some other things like that. But All right. So keep an
Wow.
eye on this Idaho murder case because this is going to get very, 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 very interesting to see where this goes. I will definitely be following. I'm sure
Oh
we will do an
God.
update at some point. But this is a very, very scary case because I don't know that they have the evidence to get however many people, everybody, whether 8 juries or 12, 10?
I think it's usually 12, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's
I
usually
don't I don't
5.
know that you get 12 people with the evidence that I've seen so far to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the guy that committed these murders. I don't know. It's the evidence is just a little bit flimsy to me at this point what we've seen. Hopefully they have a hell of a lot more evidence that they have not presented yet because the circumstantial stuff and this tiny shred of DNA thing is just it just seems a little flimsy. But like I said, I don't think they got it wrong. I just think the evidence
Yeah.
is a little light. So
Well, and I'm still just curious on how this girl can, the eyewitness, if you will. She hears the words. She knows he has bushy hair or bushy eyebrows. He was wearing dark clothes. There's some, I don't know. To me, that
well,
eyewitness is totally off.
but that's the thing
Something's
is
off.
they say that they think she went back in and passed out from the trauma.
From the trauma or from
Yeah.
alcohol. I'm just
Well,
curious.
okay. I mean, but it says trauma becomes
The,
more difficult to process when it's something that's so far outside of the consciousness. It doesn't seem to make sense to us, she said. In this case, no one
yeah.
ever thinks that they're going to have a man come into their home and brutally stab their roommates. Right? So
Yep.
so when she initially confronted that person, she may have not been able to get her brain wrapped around the fact that there's somebody in her house, right? And so she
Yeah.
just ran back in the room and closed the door. And just the more she tried to process it, it just messed up her brain and it just blacked her out.
I guess if she could have possibly seen the blood, right? We don't know because she doesn't have a statement that we're aware of. But yeah, she probably went through a lot of
Well,
trauma.
she said,
But
I
now,
didn't
now
see
that
any
I'm
blood.
rethinking it,
No. She
oh, she
said,
did say
I
that.
didn't see any blood. I thought she had choked on her vomit and I called 911. Oh, sorry. This is when she found the person.
That's when she found him. Yeah. How could you?
Because
I'm curious.
again, this
It's
goes
a
back
knife
to the whole
stabbing. That's
thing, right? But I know, but this goes back to the whole thing that if you come upon something that your mind cannot grasp,
yeah.
right? It sheds that stuff out. And so she's like, I didn't see any blood. I thought she was drunk and passed out, right?
Yeah.
Even though she was stabbed several times and stuff, and there was blood everywhere, her brain just can't comprehend that and just wipes it. Just, no, this isn't what's happening. This isn't what I see. This is so far outside of reality. This can't be what's actually happening in that. But again, that makes her statement even more unreliable.
Unreliable. Yeah, exactly. I feel like the more we're thinking about her and discussing her, it's unreliable. The eyewitness is unreliable. That's which sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
It really sucks.
like I
Because
said,
that now means we don't know if it was a guy. We don't know if he has bushy hair. We don't
well,
even know if the guy's 5'10".
and
or
her
bushy eyebrows.
testimony is irrelevant. The description of the person with bushy
Exactly.
eyebrows, it doesn't mean anything because they're going to be like, hey, she didn't even know there was blood everywhere. She didn't even know they were stabbed.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you can identify somebody, but you can't tell that somebody's dead and stabbed?
Yeah.
Right? So
That sucks. Wow.
there's no reason to even put her on the stand because she'll just get torn apart by. She would get torn apart by me if I was a defender,
Yeah.
and I'm not even a lawyer. So a trained lawyer
Yeah,
is just gonna rip that testimony. Like it's gonna be, it would probably be more detrimental to the case than helpful.
Yeah. I agree.
So
This is going to be this is going to be a good case to kind of watch, follow, and see what happens. I
Yeah.
think I'm not going to be surprised if he gets away with it. That's going to be tough.
Yeah,
Wow.
like, this is one of those cases that may not come to trial.
Yeah.
Because if I was the prosecutor with the amount of evidence that I have so far, I'd be, there's no way I'm prosecuting now and letting him get off and then not be able to prosecute him again. Because double jeopardy. So you might as well not prosecute until you get more evidence versus try to prosecute a flimsy case and then hope it sticks.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
Oh, wow.
There'll be more
There's
to this
so
case.
much in here too. Yeah,
Keep
everyone.
an eye on this.
This is great.
This is scary. Very scary. All right, we're out of here. Happy New Year. We're back.
Awesome.
We've been unbanned and we're back at it. So, all right, much love, all.
Great to have you here. See you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye. I forgot about Double Jeopardy too.